Right, as promised, there's lots to get through and no better place to start with this special guest. And he's with us every Monday. It is none other than Fabrizio Romano. Good afternoon to you, Fabrizio. Great to have you on Transfer Talk. Now, we're a few days into the window. Already, I've seen so many tweets from you about potential deals. So before we get into them specifically, you're expecting a busy January transfer window. And what could be the standout?
Hello guys, first of all, thank you for having me. Really big pleasure to be here with you. And yes, I'm tweeting just because we have always a lot of news, so for sure it will be a busy window. I don't expect big deals, to be honest, so no big names, top names, because it's a difficult January, you know, just because the COVID impact with the big clubs, it being complicated in the Premier League, as here in the Serie A, and the same in La Liga. So it won't be so easy to see like big names in the market, but for sure it will be a busy January, I'm sure.
Well, we've got to discuss Paul Pogba, haven't we? Because there's been so much talk from his agent that he might actually leave this month, although he's changed his mind a couple of times. He is playing for Manchester United now. Do you think he'll stay at the club in this window and maybe leave in the summer?
I think yes. I think Paul Pogba is staying, and just because also talking with people around the player, around his manager Mino Raiola, the feeling is that it's really difficult to have in January some clubs like Paris Saint-Germain, or also Real Madrid, or also Juventus, or spend like 100 million euro right now to sign Paul Pogba. So it's really complicated for Juventus for sure, and the same for Real Madrid, because Real Madrid are not signing any player in January. So I don't expect Paris Saint-Germain to move for Paul Pogba right now. So I think Paul Pogba is staying. He is respecting Manchester United, also the manager. As you said, he's playing. He's back as top professional also right now. So I'm sure that he's staying till next summer. And next summer, yes, we will have Paul Pogba on the market.
Interesting few months on the horizon then, Fabrizio. Can you see any incomings at Manchester United? We've seen Amad Diallo post on social media, getting on board at what looked like a private jet there. Tell us about him, and what about other incomings at Manchester United?
Amad is coming, and he's really an interesting talent, so he's coming right now just because we had some rumors here in Italy, because the manager of Atalanta, Giampiero Gasperini, told us that he wanted to extend the loan for Amad Diallo till the end of the season here with Atalanta in Italy. Atalanta were trying, just because, as you know, Papu Gomez is out from the project of the club, so they were trying to keep Amad Diallo, but Manchester United said no. Also, the player wants to join immediately Manchester United, so now he was flying to Rome just to complete his paperwork, and then he will be in England to join Manchester United, so he's coming for Manchester United right now. And yes, I expect something more from Manchester United. We have to follow the situation of another interesting young player like Moises Caicedo. Good player, good talent. They are going to decide soon if spending some money on him or not. And also possible as centre-back. Let's see what's going on. I think it's really difficult to go for Upamecano in this moment. Possible next summer we will have to see about him. But I expect something more, not only Amad Diallo for Manchester United.
Fabrizio, one big name that is available, and it came as a surprise to a lot of us, is Diego Costa after he left Atletico Madrid. We've seen him in the Premier League before. He's available on a free. Do you think he will return to the Premier League?
He would love to return to the Premier League. He had some bids from Brazilian and Turkish clubs since the day after he resolved his contract with Atletico Madrid, but he decided to wait a bit with his family to decide on next days. So he has no rush. He wants to decide with calm in some days, and he's hoping to receive some bid from the Premier League. At the moment, I don't have anything confirmed about Wolverhampton. We had a lot of rumors about Wolves for Diego Costa, but there is nothing advanced at the moment. But for sure, Diego is waiting for a call from the Premier League. He would love to come back. He loves the Premier League atmosphere. So for sure he's waiting. Let's see, because it will be interesting to have this kind of striker available as a free agent right now.
Fabrizio, great to speak to you, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys. Big pleasure.
Right, so let's pick up on a couple of points there. All right, he ended on Diego Costa, but on Paul Pogba, it does seem, Dave, that is what everyone's expecting, that he won't be going this January, this window, but the next one is one to keep an eye on.
Absolutely. We know his contract situation at Manchester United. His agent, Mino Raiola, has been pretty outspoken over the last couple of months as to what might happen for the future of Paul Pogba. I think we have to also take into consideration what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been saying over the last couple of weeks, and in particular after the game against Aston Villa, saying that Paul Pogba is now getting back to his full fitness, getting back to his best, and that is what we haven't seen from Paul Pogba. We haven't seen a fully fit player over the last few months or so. So it'd be really interesting to see how pivotal he is in what is now Manchester United's title push. I heard Darren Bent on Sky coverage say that he was commending Paul Pogba's recent performances. saying that he's shown his commitment to the club in his recent performances. Now, the flip side to that, the critics, Paul Pogba's critics, might say, well, it's interesting that those performances are coming when his contract is coming down to an end in 18 months' time. But I think we have to consider what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has said. We haven't seen a fully fit Pogba. Now he's getting back to that place again.
Well, get ready at home, because in a few moments I'm going to come to you and get you involved in the Pogba chat. It's skysports.com/play, so get ready. But before that, we're also going to ask you about Diego Costa. But before that, I had a quite interesting one. Fabrizio Romano said that Manchester United would like a centre-back, but Deo Upamecano would be too difficult. So do they, like Pogba, wait until the summer or look for someone now? They need someone now.
They do, but I think they'll be pleased with Eric Bailly's performances of recent. He's come back. We know he has his injury problems, but he's come back, and I think he's slotted in so well next to Maguire. A lot of people thought he was a guy that had all these massive injury problems and wouldn't come back to a fully fit Eric Bailly. We are now seeing that commanding at the back. So if they can keep him fit, they've got Lindelof there as cover as well. They might bring Phil Jones back into consideration. We know he's still there at the club. So I think they've got enough to cover them until the summer.
I think it was interesting as well what Fabrizio was talking about, Moise Caicedo as well, one of the brightest talents that Manchester United are looking at from across the world. It fits with their philosophy of looking at the best young talent. That ties in with our information at Sky Sports News as well, that United have been looking at the player on a number of occasions, and he would then fit into the philosophy that they're looking to bring in their recruitment strategy. Yeah,
19 years old. He's an Ecuadorian player, a midfielder. So, yeah, he threw that one in there, didn't he, Fabrizio? Right, everyone at home, go to skysports.com/play. I've got a couple of questions for you. The first one is on Paul Pogba. Right, and the question is, will Paul Pogba leave Manchester United? Three options here: in January, in the summer, or will he stay? And that is stay beyond the summer, all right? So
I love the way you've clarified that and it's changed.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's true. So leaving in the summer, Dave, backing up what everyone seems to be saying, that has got a heck of a lot more, hasn't it?
Yeah, Fabrizio was saying that the market will be open for Paul Pogba in the summer. A lot will depend on the conversations that have been had between Paul Pogba and Manchester United. The conversations will have taken place about where he sees his future. And I think a lot will depend on what happens over the next few months for Manchester United. Manchester United doing very well in the Premier League at the moment. If they can sustain that, maybe that will give Paul Pogba the view that United are on an upward trajectory at the moment and improving and challenging for Premier League titles.
I agree. I felt that's always what Paul Pogba wanted. He wanted to be in a team that would challenge him for titles. They're now there. Yes, they got knocked out of the Champions League. I think they'll do well in the Europa League, which might suit them right now. But I think he wanted to see the team attract bigger players. I think Bruno Fernandes has proved they can do that. They might need to get or attract another big player in order for him to stay. Obviously, the link with Jadon Sancho, we covered that so much, didn't we, in October? But I think if they can push and challenge for the title, even if they don't win it, I think that might be enough to convince Paul Pogba that Man United is where he needs to stay.
Yeah, OK, well, that's the poll finish. Now, only 4% think that he'll leave this month. 75 say leave in the summer. And 21 there say that he will stay beyond the summer. And as Ade says, if they can win some silverware, that might change that. So that one's closed. I've got another question for you all at home and to Ade and Dave here. Fabrizio Romano there was asked about Diego Costa. Which Premier League team should Diego Costa sign? Now, we're saying which Premier League team because Fabrizio Romano says that he would love to come back to England. We've got Leeds, Leicester, Manchester United, West Ham, Wolves, or other. Right, Ade, I know that this is one that you're particularly interested in. Do you want to see him back in the Premier League?
I do. He's the kind of player, look, I can understand how opposing teams must absolutely despise him, but if he plays for your team, you know that he gives you a bit of everything. He will work. He's a bit naughty in the challenge, but again, if he's on your team, you like that. Wolves, we know, are without Raul Jimenez after that horrific accident. He, fingers crossed, to be on the mend, but they do need a focal point up front. They really do. I think they're struggling in the area. They've got nice little cute players, but in terms of a big focal presence up front, they don't have. My only concern for Diego Costa is that he has had his injuries this season and the back end of last season. So how fit is he if he is fully fit, he can go straight into Wolves' team. Other teams as well, I think Leicester, I think they could look at him. You know, they've only got really Jamie Vardy up front. Iheanacho, it's not really working out for Iheanacho right now at Leicester City, West Ham as well. So, look, there are several options for him, and I think a lot of Premier League clubs will be looking at Diego Costa.
A team that aren't there is Manchester City. Alex Tara's got in touch using hashtag transfer talk, saying it's got to be Manchester City for Diego Costa. We are talking about Manchester City later on, and I think we're all agreeing that they're going to be after a striker. By the way, Fantasy Football Ninja has tweeted in to say Fabrizio Romano's move to Sky Sports News on loan is the biggest deal of January.
Did he announce it?
and with that, Dave, I mean, Wolves there with over half of, 57%, is that purely because of Raul Jimenez's injury, and it makes sense?
It's the obvious link, isn't it? But there's also the connection there with Jorge Mendes and Diego Costa as well. So that's the obvious link. I mean, we saw a story maybe 12 months ago about Diego Costa being linked with Wolves. I'm not entirely sure whether there was actually anything in that at all. But you're right, that's the area of the field that Wolves are looking to strengthen. Nuno Espirito Santo has said that over the last couple of weeks, that they will be looking to bring in a striker. So it's the obvious link, and no surprise really that Wolves are winning the vote there. Yeah,
in fact, Other is second with 18%. So that's the end of that poll there. West Ham, by the way, 11% came third. Only 3% think that he will go to Leicester.